One of the things I've been learning lately is that community doesn't always look the way I thought it would. For the longest time, whenever I pictured being part of a community, I imagined being surrounded by people all the time. Constant plans, constant conversations, and if I'm being honest, that sounds a little exhausting. Because as much as I genuinely love people, I also love being by myself. I love slow mornings and quiet moments. I love having enough space in my day to hear my own thoughts. And for a while, I think I assumed those two things couldn't really coexist, that I had to choose between being connected and being alone. But lately, I've been realizing that's not actually true. Today was actually a really good example of that. We had a kickball tournament, and if you know me, you know being around a lot of people isn't always my natural habitat. I can do it, I enjoy it, but after a certain point, my social battery starts looking at me like, girl, what are we doing here? And yet today felt different. I found myself looking around and genuinely enjoying being there. Not because we were doing anything extraordinary. We were literally standing around watching grown adults kick a ball across the field. But it wasn't really about the kickball. It was about the people, the conversations, and familiar faces, laughing with friends, and feeling connected to something bigger than myself. I had one of those moments where I looked around and thought, wow, this is really nice. Not because everything was perfect, and not because I suddenly became the most outgoing person in the world, but because I realized I was enjoying community while still being myself. I think that's one of the biggest surprises for me lately. I used to think belonging meant becoming more extroverted, becoming louder and more social, becoming the person who walks into a room and instantly knows everyone. But now I'm realizing that belonging doesn't require me to become anyone else. Maybe belonging is just being fully yourself and still having a seat at the table. And that's really comforting, especially in a community that's centered on Christ. Because when I look around, I'm reminded that we're all there for the same reason. We're not competing with each other, unless it's kickball. We're not trying to prove who has it all together. We're just people showing up, trying to grow, loving God and loving others. And there's something really beautiful about that. It takes away a lot of the pressure. You don't have to perform. You don't have to be the funniest person or the loudest or the most interesting. You can just be you. And maybe that sounds simple, but I think a lot of us spend more time than we'd like to admit wondering if we're enough as we are, if we need to change something about ourselves to fit in, if we're too quiet, too awkward, too different, too much of one thing or not enough of another. And lately, I feel like God has gently been showing me that I don't have to earn belonging. I can simply receive it. The funny thing is, some of the happiest moments in my life recently haven't been the big moments. They haven't been huge accomplishments. They haven't been the things that necessarily would look impressive on social media. They've been days like today. Days that are pretty ordinary. A kickball tournament, good conversations, playing with my friend's dog, doing my nails, coming home and feeling grateful. Nothing life-changing on paper, but somehow those are the moments that stay with me. I think for a long time, I was waiting for joy to show up in these huge, dramatic ways. Like I'd reach some milestone and suddenly feel fulfilled. Or something exciting would happen, and then I'd finally feel content. But lately, I've been finding joy in much smaller places, in the mundane, in the things that I probably would have overlooked a few years ago. I've been learning that gratitude isn't just for the big prayers that get answered. It's also for the random Tuesday afternoons, the conversations that make you laugh, the moments where you look around and realize you're exactly where you're supposed to be. I think sometimes we spend so much time looking ahead, we accidentally miss the life we're currently living. The next opportunity, next season, next relationship, next breakthrough, the next chapter. And while there's nothing wrong with looking forward to things, I don't want to miss what's right in front of me. Because what's right in front of me is really beautiful. Not perfect, but beautiful. Today reminded me of that. It reminded me that community doesn't have to look loud to be meaningful. It reminded me that I can enjoy people and still enjoy my alone time. That being an introvert isn't something that I need to fix. It reminded me that some of God's sweetest gifts show up in the most ordinary moments. So that's kind of where my heart is today. Just grateful. Grateful for community, grateful for friendships, grateful for laughter, grateful for familiar faces, grateful for a God who continues to surprise me with joy in places I wasn't expecting to find it. And grateful that the life I've been praying for isn't always showing up through huge dramatic moments. Sometimes it shows up in pieces, in ordinary afternoons, in kickball tournaments, good conversations, freshly painted nails, a dog that wants attention, and in realizing that you don't have to become someone else to belong. You can just show up as yourself. And sometimes that's enough. I think another thing I've been realizing is how much my definition of a good day has changed. A few years ago, if you had asked me what made a day successful, I probably would have listed accomplishments. Did I finish everything on my to-do list? Did I achieve something? Did I make progress toward a goal? Did I have something exciting to share? And while I think goals are important, I don't know if that's how I measure a good day anymore. A good day feels a lot simpler. A good day is leaving a conversation feeling encouraged or encouraging someone else. A good day is laughing so hard that your stomach hurts. A good day is driving home and realizing your mind feels quiet for once. A good day is feeling present instead of constantly thinking about what's next. And I think that's something I'm trying to protect, because the world is really good at convincing us that every moment needs to be productive, that every hobby should become a side hustle, every interest should become content, every talent should become income, every free moment should be optimized somehow. But sometimes I think we're allowed to just enjoy things. We're allowed to laugh because something's funny. We're allowed to spend time with people because we enjoy them. We're allowed to play games, watch sunsets, take walks, paint our nails, spend time with the dog without it turning into some grand accomplishment. Maybe that's obvious, but I needed the reminder. Life isn't only happening when we're achieving something, it's also happening in all the moments in between. And the older I get, the more I realize those moments in between might actually be the best part. The conversations that weren't planned, the friendships that grew slowly, the memories you didn't know you were making at the time. Those are usually the things that stay with us, not because they were extraordinary, but because they were real.